Enjoy a warm shower with Solar Dynamics, you'll feel all right. Competition does not need to be an enemy camp. The driver took off.
My very special guest on the Red Couch today is Mr. James Husbands. Now, you may or may not know Mr. Husbands, but if I say Solar Dynamics, everybody immediately knows what I'm talking about, because he was the original, he was the innovator, he was the man who started the solar dynamics revolution, the whole solar water heating system in Barbados and then across the Caribbean. And I have to say that many years ago I was very proud when I would be in St. Vincent, or as far up, I remember being in as far up as Antigua or St. Kitts and seeing solar dynamics. And I was like, wow, this is pretty amazing. And I'm talking about way back in the 1980s. So welcome to the Red Couch, James.
Thank you so very much, Vic. It's an honor. Thank you so very much for inviting me. It's a singular honor to be here. Just let me correct you with one thing. The originator of solar dynamics is the late Canon Andrew Hatch.
And I want to come to that immediately.
Right.
Yes.
It was his idea in 1973, at the beginning of the energy crisis, that solar water heating would be an appropriate technology for the Caribbean. And he got a diagram from the Caribbean Development Bank of a plan done by Professor Tom Lewan of McGill University. And it was Tom's plan of a low-cost solar water heater from which he made a unit for his house. So that is where it started. And then he had asked me to help him find some materials, because I had started Husbands marketing back in 1972. So some of the pipe fittings he needed, I found them for him. And then later, Bishop Drexel Gomez, who was chairman of CADEC, invited me to a meeting to discuss the possibility of doing the marketing for the fledgling idea of solar water heaters and solar dynamics. So that's where we started. Back in 1989, I was approached by Mr. Granville Phillips, now Dr. Granville Phillips. He was the receiver of the brick factory, or what we knew as the project in St. Andrew, Building Supplies Limited, on behalf of the Caribbean Development Bank. Shipping and Trading had gone in and done some work, and this was the second time it had gone into receivership. So I wisely or unwisely allowed Mr. Phillips to encourage me to give this
try.
This thing a try.
But he must have come to you because he knew you were an innovator, and if anybody can make a success of it, that you would probably be that person.
Well, that's very kind. And I actually, when I started in business, I started with Buildec, our husband's marketing, then called Buildec, and so which was distribution of other people's products. But once I got into solar dynamics, I really started to like manufacturing. And so I took a look at the clay plant, and I decided that we would take a look at it and make a go of it. But essentially, the clay tone was a very interesting part of my life. I spent 20 years in it, and I have been very happy with what we were able to achieve. It was very challenging, but I learned quite a lot about manufacturing. I went to some of the manufacturing companies for raw materials and equipment in Italy and Greece, and we were able to produce some good product. We improved and brought some new product to the market. It is a real crying shame that after Thomas, when we had the difficulties with the kiln, damage to the kiln, that we had some invaders who started to rip out the guts of the place, carry away all the copper cables, and then they carried away they carried away down to the extrusion molds, and so you walk in there and it's just a ghost town. That aspect of Barbados needs attention. But the biggest challenge that I would say we had at Clayton was theft.
My gosh.
Yeah, and during operations as well, not just at the end after Thomas. The biggest singular challenge was accountability of staff. I remember one Saturday morning, the truck was coming out loaded, and I told the accountant, stop the truck, go check the goods, and the driver took off. He caught the next bus, and so when we counted, there were 8 extra boxes of tiles on the truck.
So James, let's talk a little bit about you and your journey. Your life as a young man growing up and so on. Where did you grow up? What was that like? What was family life like? And you know, I know you're a man of. One of the things that always stood out about you was your integrity, your sense of fairness and decency and so on. Those are some. If I think James Husbands, there are certain words that would come to mind immediately for me. So obviously some of this must have had some grounding within your family structure as a young boy growing up.
Well, you know, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your kind remarks. I grew up mostly with my grandmother. We call her Eunice Husbands. She
See that Asian term, Eunice?
Eunice.
I use it all the time because that's what I grew up hearing. You know,
Yes, not Eunice, Eunice. Yes. She would go to Oldbury Plantation and dig potatoes, and we had a donkey cart, and the donkey's name was George. So we would have, and then I would go with her to sell the potatoes. We would go to Crane, and you know, the interesting is that when you got to Crane, you got a red juicy and a cheese cutter.
A Bajan staple.
A Bajan staple. So she was my rock. She made pudding sauce every Saturday, and I had a hand in
Doing the prepping?
Doing some of the prepping, and then we would walk out. We would go out to Rock Hall and Penny Hole with her tray on her head, and we would sell pudding and sauce. And next door to us was Muz Larrier, and she also did pudding and sauce, and they had the friendly competition. But let me tell you, if Muz needed something or Eunice needed something, they would always send across and they share it. But what I learned about that was that competition does not need to be an enemy camped. You know, that there's a market for everybody. Her pudding and sauce was different hours, or the consumers certainly thought so. So they both had their customers.
Yeah.
By the way, do you know, when we talk again, perhaps we'll talk about advertising, because you may not know that I wrote the jingle that Gabby sings, first part of it. Shower in the morning, shower in the evening, or take a fresh at night. Enjoy a warm shower with Solar Dynamics, you'll feel alright. Comfort, safety, temperature guaranteed. Long service, fulfilling your every need. Take a shower in comfort, no more ouch, the water touch you. Solar Dynamics is the best for true.
You wrote that?
Yeah.
I thought it was Gabbers who wrote it.
I gave Gabbers the tune and the first verse. He finished the rest. He added, save on electricity, be environmentally friendly. Solar Dynamics is the best for true. Now, you never heard the one with Alison Seeley Smith?
No.
cheese on bread. These mornings the water cold, cold as ice. And singing in the bath just don't help. I was talking to a friend, and she told me solar dynamics is the answer. Not the kettle, not the saucepan on the fire. She told me every bedroom house look pretty enough for solar dynamics. So I can call solar dynamics now because they tell me everybody who is somebody getting the original solar dynamics. I wrote that too.
Well, I didn't know that creative side of you. James Husbands, what a fascinating session this has been here today on the Red Couch. We have to have him back at some time in the future for more of the story, the journey, but also his vision for the future. Thank you once again and congratulations on being in business for 50 years.
Thank you so very much. It's a singular honor. And thank you for the opportunity to share, and I hope it will be useful to some.
It will be.